That link is posted. Stream is streaming. Students are sleeping? Flux capacitor fluxing. Why do you go down to this on the, what the heck? This makes no sense. Oh, look, there's people. Okay. Manual's here. Michelle is here. Is Michelle in blue group now? Keep changing everything on me. Well, regardless, good thing you're here. Natalie is here, and Ruby is here. Join 2 days. Well, that's counting Friday. So your color day plus Friday is the 2 days of the week. You're welcome to stay. If you're here, go for it. It'll just make things easier, okay? Don't worry about it. Just as far as attendance. All right. Well, those of you here, good morning. Happy New Year. New semester, everything is treated as a new class, so I have to redo all the seating charts. I had everything arranged with the color groups together to make it nice and easy, and I gotta redo all that. Okay, let's see. Alex is here, Gabriel is here now, and Kaylin. Okay, so I have everybody I am expecting today. Good. That's the main thing. So yeah, let me start with that, mentioning the attendance, because I sent out an email that looks like this, okay? And some reminders there, right? Attendance-wise, with the color day rotation schedule, you are required to report twice a week. That is your color day between, for you guys, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, right? One of those three, plus Friday, whenever we actually have class on Friday, right? Several Fridays, you don't either, it's an additional work day, or it's Good Friday, holiday, or something like that, right? Otherwise, Fridays where we have class, and then the one other day gives you a total of 2 days, right? Fridays are always going to be online, on Zoom here, and since nobody has come into the building, I think most of those are in the yellow group, if that's still a thing. I highly encourage you to come in person. It's way better. If you can, please do. I'm happy to have you, okay? We're all happy to have you. There's plenty of space, all right? It's not a problem. Okay, that said, so that's dealing with the attendance. That's the minimum I need you for attendance. Now, the minimum I need you for the class, for the actual content, is to still somehow experience all the other classes. If you're not here on the Zoom meeting, then you should be watching on YouTube. Hi, YouTube. Okay, and you can do that live. I stream it live. Or if for whatever reason, not all your other classes require you to tune in on the color day. So if you have something else scheduled that day, you can watch the video later in the day. That's not a problem, okay? I care not in the slightest. It's as long as you get things done generally on that day. Okay, so you'll be ready for the next thing. All right? So that's those expectations. That's the attendance thing. Nothing new there. Now, assignment-wise, each week, quick reminder of what we've got going on and a couple changes here. So each class day, then, there will be some content from me, some thing for you to work on, and some homework then associated with that. The intention is I speak for a while, I interact with you for a while, hopefully interact. The interaction is on your part, okay? And there's something for you to work on for the class period in the morning, and then you take a break, you go do your other class, and then there will be additional practice exercises for you to do later that day, okay? That's the daily stuff. Each week, we've got the writing reflection. That'll be assigned on a Monday. Do the next Monday. That hasn't changed. Each weekend is when you'll do the reading for the next week, read the section and take the notes, okay? That's going to be especially important now with our new textbook, which we'll talk about today. That'll get you the best setup. I like that better than having you read it afterwards, because if the book is the first thing you encounter with it, that's fine. If you get confused, be like, oh, I'm not sure about this, because then you come into class. You can ask me and I can clarify. Whereas if you wait for class to be your first exposure to it, and then after class you realize, oh wait, I don't know what that thing was saying, now you're relying on the dry textbook to try to figure it out or Google search it or something. You don't immediately have me to answer the questions, okay? That's why I do it that way. All right, so that's happening every time. We got the lecture activity, practice each week. The quizzes, we've generally been having those almost once every week. That's going to be moved up to Mondays, specifically as a reading-like quiz, and so that you get a preview early on in the week of how well do you already know some of these concepts. A lot of it is review stuff. You've seen at least glimpses of this in Algebra 2 before, so you can get a sense of where you are with that. It's for your own review, and then you'll have the rest of the week to finish that off. Instead of me putting it on like Wednesday or Thursday's class and then say, oh, retake it by Saturday, and you only got 2 days on it, now you have the whole week to get that in. Next up, the online stuff for you guys who are using Study.com. No more. I've eliminated it. That's gone. Forget about it. You're welcome. That was more trouble than it was worth. I don't think anybody was really getting all that much out of it. I liked it because of the immediate feedback. It would automatically grade you, and you didn't have to wait to check your answers till the next day, but I think it caused more headaches than that feature resolved. So we're dropping that, okay? Instead, you'll just have the regular daily assignments. And now that we're sticking with a single text, that's going to be the source of all those assignments. So it'll be a selection of exercises, okay, from this section, do number 13, 14, 15, 20 through 25, right? Typical book problem stuff, okay? The lengths of the assignment, then, I will be adjusting as we go, and there will be a chance for you to have a say in exactly how much time you want to dedicate to that. More on that we will discuss on Wednesday with regards to the actual study levels feature I will be implementing this semester. With that, a reminder of what's coming up next. Always check the master schedule there. That's literally where I put everything as I'm planning it out. So you can know as soon as I'm sure of when we're doing something, you'll know when we're doing something. Okay? Right up front. All right. And just a note on Fridays, because of the sporadic scheduling of Fridays, we have some, don't have others. That's kind of a grab bag. Some days we'll need those for actual content, just to fit everything in nicely. Some days we'll use that as another quiz, test, assessment kind of day, because you're all here. And other days we'll just have fun with it. We'll play another math game or something, okay? Now, biggest change for you guys is Thursday, okay? I had a lot of positive feedback when I first floated this idea to you last year, so we're going to go ahead and do this. Thursdays are going to be now office hours instead of a regular class period. So at this time of day, on a Thursday, instead of a class, instead of a stream, there won't be a video to go with it. It'll just be office hours held on Zoom. So the same exact Zoom link, same Zoom meeting, okay? Those of you that have your color day on that Thursday, okay, and remember that rotates out each week, so it's a different set of you. So you here today, remember this for, in 2 weeks or whatever, when your day is Thursday, okay? You do need to attend. You have to show up at the beginning so I can check off your attendance, okay? That is still important. But as far as staying the whole time, that will not be necessary, okay? So it's kind of like how I treat study halls online Friday, right? You got to check in, and then once I have your attendance, you can then check out. But if you have any questions, if you've been working on the homework assignments, which you should have been that week, you can stop and ask me, and I'll be happy to go over any question at all. We can go through the whole thing with you, okay? In depth to whatever help, assistance you need, okay? This is a very common feature for college professors, okay? They will have their class lecture. Yeah, you can talk to them, but in a giant hall of 150 students at once, right? It's kind of hard and maybe intimidating to make your voice heard. So instead, you go to office hours and you go talk to them one-on-one. So I think this would be a really handy way for you to kind of test out how that feels, since you'll want to use it in college. Trust me, I didn't my first year, and it was miserable. And then I started going, and I was like, oh, this is so easy. This professor is actually nice. I can just talk to them and get my questions answered. It makes things wonderful, okay? Do it, use it. Come by, ask questions. It doesn't have to be your color day for you to show up and ask questions. All right, I think that then addresses everything from that email. Does anybody here have any questions at the moment? Seeing none. Okay, good. Then let's go on to talk about this giant textbook thing that I have introduced. That hopefully you should have read a condensed preview version of it, selection of some of the beginning material in this book. It's just called the Blitzer PreCalculus. All right, why? Because it's written by a guy named Robert Blitzer. At the college level, textbooks are often referenced by the author's last name, or at least the first author's last name. Okay? And boy, I felt last semester that the material kind of got disjointed. I really liked the outline from Cool Math. I don't know if you guys really appreciated the website. I find it really fun and a great colorful summary of stuff. And since we didn't have a lot of truly new things to talk about this year, a lot of the pre-calc, the good actual need it, known well to do calculus part of a pre-calc class is a lot of Algebra 2 stuff. It's mostly review material. Okay? It's just mastering that material. Which is why I thought, oh, we could simplify it, right? And this year, hybrid, online stuff, I thought we'd trim it down. But I've realized that's really done you a disservice, because you don't have one centralized source that you can go to for information, for additional help, okay? This covers everything. This text, now I looked through a lot of textbooks, and I came to select this one because I felt it was the most interesting, the most user-friendly as a presentation. So hopefully you've looked through the table of contents, okay? You should have read the preface, which kind of tells you about the book and a little bit about the class, actually. I thought this was interesting, right? What is the difference between pre-calculus versus algebra and trigonometry? I struggled to understand this myself. Like, what's the difference? We're going over all the same stuff. What makes pre-calc pre-calc other than, at the end of the year when we actually preview some of the real calculus bits? And this is the difference. Look at this. Algebra and trig has entire chapters on linear equations, rational equations, quadratic equations. Pre-calc reviews all of that in 3 sections. So there's your first difference, is that it doesn't introduce the stuff at a slow pace. It's like, hey, here's all this stuff. We're going to pack it together. This should be your second helping of these topics, at least second helping. All right, so that's difference number 1. And if you read through this, what's new to the 5th edition, and this is one of your questions. Let me just pause for a moment here to remind you. Today you have a couple questions I want you to answer. So through the course of this discussion, you can have this open, okay? Tab back and forth. Can you do double monitor? See, the problem with the Chromebook is you only have the one little screen. Try to set up a double screen here with Zoom on one side. You can see what I'm doing, and then this on the other. But we've got a couple questions to answer here. Okay, more than a couple, 5, okay, a handful of questions about the book and what you thought of it. A little more detail than just your reflection from the writing activity. But I bring that up because this was one of them, as about, I think it's number 5 here, right? The comparison of this edition to the last. And that is what I'm looking at right here, right? These concept and vocabulary checks. Oh, the 5th edition contains 679 new short answer exercises, mainly fill in the blanks, true, false items. They assess students' understanding of the definitions and concepts presented. Ooh, hey. Definitions are important, right? As my one teacher, I love quoting him on this, used to say, that's the problem with words. They mean things. Yes, and it's important that they mean things. And it's important that we're all on the same page. When we say a word, you know exactly what I mean by that word. And so I love this bit. If you look at your exercise set this evening, it's going to include a lot of these bits. Okay? Because I think that's really good foundational stuff. You got to have that down because confusion on the vocabulary is just going to set you up for future failure. You don't understand the words being used. Well, then of course you don't understand the question. And if you don't understand the question, how are you possibly going to get the correct answer? Okay? That's all of this is. It's building up that foundation. You started with algebra, right? We built on top of that algebra 2, and then on top of that comes pre-calc, which again, reviews a lot of Algebra 2 concepts, and then adds on a few extra nuances, a few additional features, onto which we can cap it with calculus. Okay. So definitely for number 5, look through some of these. Right, these are all the new features, what contents have changes. Okay, specific section by section changes, maybe you can skip that one. But here's, right, versus the familiar features retained in the feature. And this is just, to you it doesn't make any sense. You're not comparing to a 4th edition, 3rd edition, previous editions of the book. Don't worry about that. Just look at it as a bulleted list of, here are the features in this textbook. Okay? What sounds good and useful to you? And be like, ooh, yeah, the checkpoint examples. That's a really good idea. I like that. I appreciate that the book has these in there, right? Something like that. Okay? That's what I'm asking for there. There are additional online tools associated with this book. If we bought that suite of features from the publisher, we did not. So I apologize, we don't have all of that stuff. Here's another of the questions to call out. It asks about these 4 features here, that some qualities that students say make a great teacher. I hope I bring forth a lot of these. And it was the author's goal to incorporate these qualities throughout the pages of the book. So, which of these do you think is the most important? Explaining things clearly, is that the top priority? Like, I definitely need this. I'm like, no, I think if I'm going to read a textbook, it better be funny and entertaining. Because if it's not entertaining, I'm just going to ignore it. And it doesn't matter how well it's explained, I've already tuned out. Maybe that takes precedent, right? Maybe it's designed to be helpful. Needs to be helpful. It's got to help me. If it doesn't help me, then what's the point? Or you really need a book that is passionate about the subject. No more blasé, here's the book, I guess, it's math, whatever, okay? It's like, if it's not evident that the author really cares about the math, then the book is worthless, okay? Maybe that's the top priority for you. It's got to have that passion first, because that forms the foundation, and then everything else comes with that. Well, if they're passionate, then it'll automatically be helpful, right? Let me know what you think there. I'm interested. All right, and then you can read a little bit about Mr. Blitzer himself, right? From Manhattan, Bachelor of Arts. Wait a minute, got a Bachelor of Arts, not science? Isn't math science? That's debatable, okay? Talked about that sophomore year. More indices. What else we got? In the prerequisites chapter. Okay. So, fundamental concepts of algebra. And this, I think, transitions well into both your exercises for today. Because, yeah, you have in addition to the classwork questions today, you've also got a homework assignment, Prerequisites 1. Oh my gosh, Mr. Apple. So many things. The questions don't spend more than like 10 minutes on them. You should be half done with those in class here. Okay? But I've thought long and hard about this, on what content I want to work through this semester. Do we just jump right in? Let me get back to the table of contents. Do we just jump right into the trigonometry part? Okay? Looking at some of these, polynomial and rationals, exponential and logs, right? We highlighted those last semester. We kind of finished that. So we're ready, in a sense, to go straight into the trig. But based on some of the questions in the review, and actually, honestly, the exam went rather well. Overall, you guys did okay. But I think doing okay, doing just good enough, is not, in my opinion, good enough. We want to strive for better than that. And so part of that will come in the form of the levels of assignments. More on that on Wednesday, but short answer, I'm going to be breaking each assignment into selective groups of, if you just want the basics, you can just answer these exercises. If you want to go more advanced, push yourself, also do these ones, okay? So there'll be additional exercises available that you can choose to do. But even the basic one, I'm going back now with this book, and we're starting with the prerequisites. And I'm going to interleave them together, okay? I should have put forth my master schedule there, but if you scroll through the schedule, you'll see that there's now another row. So one row is the main topic of the day, which I will be addressing in class, and that starts with the trigonometric functions. And we're going to work our way through chapter 4 here. Get through most of 5, a little bit of 6, and that'll be our trig for the quarter. In addition to that, though, we're also going to be bringing in some questions from each of the prerequisite sections, and as well as the other chapters, right? Once we finish chapter P, we'll go through chapters 1, okay, 2, and 3. And so each assignment going forward will have some questions from the next trig bit, as well as some review questions from a prior section in the book, okay? And that is just to reinforce those skills so that you master them. It's not good enough to just, I get it, I understand it. Understand is not good enough. Understand is step 1, okay? Understanding is only step 1. We want to push for more than that. And again, I'll have more on that. In fact, I have something for you to read about that very subject on Wednesday. Okay? But that's the rationale behind what I'm doing here. Any questions regarding that? I hope that I'm not trying to add more work. Okay, don't get me wrong. Like, what? We're doing like 2 sections every night? Well, hold on. I'm reducing the total number. Okay, so the total number of exercises is not double a normal exercise. In addition, if you look at that schedule, I have, actually, you know what? Let me just open it up right here, so we can look at it together. Right? Always speak with a visual aid. Where is it? Pre-calculus schedule. Here we go. Quarter 3. Oh, it's got dark mode. This is cool. Forgot I had this. All right. So I just don't have the laser pointer. So again, we've got the topic and the review topic going. So let's look at next week. Next week is a better example, right? This week we're still getting back into things. We've got topic 4.1, so that's what I'm going to talk about in class. That's what our activity is going to be based on. But in addition, there's the review topic, that prerequisite section 3. So your homework then that night will be exercises from both sections. So it'll be a little bit of the trig section, the adians and angles and radians, and a little bit from radicals and rationals. Okay? And that will continue through the semester as we go. I've only got, details for the next couple weeks. All right, any questions on that? There, now that you can see it. Oh, and then the other thing why I brought this up is notice the due date for that. 4.1 and P3 assigned on Monday, due Wednesday morning. So you guys, actually your schedule kind of works out with the work day of Tuesday and then Thursday being now the office hours. You're tuning into class kind of a Monday, Wednesday, Friday sort of deal. You get this alternate, it's very college schedule-like. It's scary how that worked out. So kind of think on this. This is fully expecting, this is what a college class is going to be like. Come to class Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Okay, the teacher has office hours some other time in the middle of the week. Okay. So you'll have 2 days then to work on this assignment. And then the one for Wednesday will then be due Friday. So again, 2 days. So I'm not crammed. You have some flexibility there. Okay. All right. That's schedule. That's that in a nutshell. Let me go back to the textbook here and look at the questions on screen. Let's see if we've addressed much of this. Looking at the table of contents. Okay, yes, so the first discussion question is to categorize each of these into where you first encounter them. As I said, they should all be review. So run through and say just the chapter contents, right? Each chapter by the course. So fundamental concepts of algebra. And based on the actual topics in there, would you say this one would be grouped in, does that come from mostly from pre-algebra? Is that where you saw a lot of this? Or I didn't really see a lot of that in pre-algebra. I think I got most of that in Algebra 1. Okay? Right? Functions in graph, where did you first encounter, these things? All right, and then do that. So that should go real quick. That's right for all of the chapters, systems of equations and inequalities. We're not going to go through that chapter this year, so it will be important that you reflect back. Oh yeah, when did I learn about those? What do I know about this stuff? Okay? A lot of this reflective stuff. That's why I have those weekly writing assignments, to get you to think back on things. It does help your brain. All right, matrices and determinants. Did you guys cover matrices? I know sophomore Algebra 2 covers them briefly. I don't know if your Algebra 2 did you do matrices? Maybe you didn't at all. And you'll be like, well, that would be, file that under pre-calculus. That's a totally new pre-calc concept for me. I've never seen that before. Okay. Spoiler alert, it's fascinating and awesome and super cool way to deal with systems, but not directly applicable to calculus class. So I don't know why we save it to introduce in pre-calc a lot of times. I don't know. You got me on that one. All right, same with conic sections, sequences. Sequences are very good for understanding calculus, and I will have us go through a couple of these first sections in Chapter 10 before we get to Chapter 11, True Intro to Calculus. All right, and that's I think most of the front end stuff. Let's get to a section. Okay. Let's read through some of this here. How does it read? How does it flow? Okay, what can you expect going through this? Because you are going to have to read, again, each weekend, you're going to be reading, in this case, probably 2 sections most weeks of the text. Okay, so section P.1, and then you read through that, read, text. Ooh, look at this, tables, stuff, checkpoint questions. Okay, even browse the exercises. Okay, get a feel for that. Okay, what are they asking me to do, right? Just like glance through here and be like, oh yeah, absolute value stuff. Okay, make sure get through that. Okay, set building. What is this funny symbol? Okay, I better go back through the section and read through that. Just run through a preview of it. Okay, That's a fantastic reading technique. Preview the whole thing first. Get a sense in your mind, build through, oh, it's going to talk about this, this, and this. It's like creating a mental outline, right? When you write an essay, okay, English teacher says, hey, create an outline first, and then you start filling it in with more details. That's what you should do when you read a text, okay? And then we got section P.2, exponents, scientific notation. Oh, okay, do I know anything about exponents? What else we know here? Ooh, there's properties of exponents. It always starts with this italicized thing, bigger than the biggest thing ever, and then some, much bigger than that, in fact, really amazingly immense, totally stunning size, real, wow, that's big time. Gigantic, multiplied by colossal, multiplied by staggeringly huge is the sort of concept I'm trying to get across here. Douglas Adams' Restaurant at the End of the Universe. He is describing, of course, the size of infinity, actually, to say that the universe is infinite in size. Well, what do you mean by infinite? That's what infinite means. Kind of colorful there. So he's got a quotation. It's got some real-world application. I love this book. One of the reasons I picked it out is they've got a lot of these real-life, real-world encounter. Hey, where do you see this come up? Okay, debt. Okay, there's even a question there on student debt and college, student loans, college tuition, that kind of thing. Hey, directly applicable and useful for you to know. Okay. Then we get into properties, nice summary with these tables and examples there. Great question. Cut to the chase. What do I do with negative exponents? Oh, calling it out, right? A common thought that students might have while reading through this. Like, okay, negative exponent rule does blah, blah, blah. Okay, but can you just explain it like in words? What do you do with it? Switch the position of the base from numerator or denominator, or from denominator to numerator. Make the exponent positive. Oh, got it. Okay, right? If you just want to like straight up rule to follow, what do I actually do? You need to describe it instead of this, right? I'm sure very, very few of you are great at like looking at this and interpreting. Oh yeah, I know what that means. Easy, right? I know exactly what to do with that. That takes time. That takes practice. That takes effort. This is why I describe math as a language in and of itself, is to be able to just read such an equation, especially a very generalized algebraic rule written in this form. That's why he's got these here, okay? The author's got your back. I like these little call-out balloons. Be like, hey, watch out. Only 5 is raised to the 0 power, not the negative, right? Remember, a negative is always a -1 times whatever follows. Negative 5 to 0. 5 to 0 comes first. Right? That's why this version has parentheses. And this one doesn't. There's the difference, okay? So, hand out. What else we got here? Simplifying examples. Read through the examples. Better yet, if you have the time, do the examples yourself, okay? Because the solutions are right there, okay? Work them out yourself, okay? Write this down. Start thinking about, how would I do that? Write it out. If you don't get it the first time, go ahead and look. That's okay. It's okay to look at the solution, all right? I spent most of my time in Calc 2 and 3. Okay, I took Calculus AB, AP Calculus AB in high school, so I got that Calc 1 credit out of the way. But Calc 2 and 3, that was tough stuff, okay? I thought I was wonderful at math. I thought I knew math. It's always something. Excuse me. Anyways, I spent a lot of time just working through the solutions, looking at the solutions to the questions. Even for homework questions that had the solutions in the book, I'd be like, I don't know. And I feel like I gave up fairly early, okay? But as long as you work through the solution, don't just copy it down and get it done to turn in. But mindfully work your way and understand, okay, why is this the solution? How did it go from here to there? Right? Because this is a whole nother example. The teacher only has so much time to go through examples in class. That's true for me and future college professors. So this is like free additional worked examples. Okay? Sometimes one example is enough. Oh, clicks, I got it. This is the thing you do. Other times, ooh, that's a crazy new symbol. I don't immediately recognize it every time. I need 4, 5, 6 worked examples. with the full correct solution shown to me, because you don't want to get into a bad habit of doing it wrong in the first place, okay? So make use of these. This is awesome stuff. Absolutely work those out in your notes, okay? And then check, okay, with the checkpoints here, here's ones without the solution. Ooh, can I do it on my own? Can you do this one to the power? Can you do a division? Can you do a quotient to a negative power, right? Like different combinations therein. Okay, make use of those, okay? That's active reading. Engage with and participate in the text. Don't just browse through, simplify the exponent, yeah, got it. Scientific notation, you got it, okay. Yeah, that's stuff, no. That's no good. You're not learning, okay? Actively read, write it down, pause, think about it, go back, check the work, okay? That's how you're going to make this text actually usable and a powerful tool for you, and not just look at it as, oh, it's that burdensome thing that has all the homework in it, okay? The homework is there for a reason, okay? The homework is there for practice, okay? Another great advantage of your future assignments being half review, half new stuff, even the new stuff being predominantly review, is you get this wonderful boost. Be like, oh yeah, I've been doing this for years. I know how to do these. Boom, boom, boom. You chow through them, all right? So you look at the homework and be like, oh my gosh, 20 questions, and then you see that, oh, it's just these, right? They take 2 seconds apiece, okay? And then you feel great. You're like, I can do this. I can do math, because you've been doing this for years now. After you've been doing it for years, now you're good at it, okay? If it's new, you won't be good at it. You shouldn't expect to be good at it. That's fine, okay? But this gives you the confidence boost that you can do these things. You are learning new things. You couldn't do this in, 3rd grade, okay? You've come a long way. What else do we have here? I like the different sections, even within the exercises. Notice we've got, there was the vocab, right? Concept and vocabulary check. And then the counting starts over, which is kind of unfortunate. But practice exercises, this is just the simple stuff, right? Just very straightforward, direct operation. This is the repetition to build that speed, okay? And practice plus, these are like, oh, these are a little bit more challenging. Try those out. And then come the application. This is the good stuff. This is where you really know the math if you can apply it to some new situation, okay? And this gives you more context. Where do we see these things come up? Scientific notation, right? Exponential stuff, right? All good stuff. Most numbers in the modern world shouldn't be represented. Wait, where is the vocab? Oh, I'm sorry. Right? Concept and vocabulary check. It's not a vocabulary list. It's questions that are fill in the blank based on vocabulary. Although, this is a good question. Do they highlight the vocabulary in the text? Is it like bolded? Figures are bolded. They have... Yes, so vocabulary is bolded. Unfortunately, they didn't go with like a highlight color or anything, as some do. So look for those bold words. Those are good ones. Make sure you get those down when you're taking notes, okay? And then those will probably be, all those bold words might form your word bank, if you will, for filling in a lot of these blanks. Not all of them, because some of them are more, like this one here, 1 over b to the negative n equals, and right, that's going to be something with b's and n's. It's not a word, but some symbols. All right, good question. Thank you, Ruby. Yeah, we've got application. We've got writing. These are awesome questions, okay? I'll probably throw a few of them in. It's definitely worth at least reading through. Okay? I highly encourage you to, at the very least, read through all of these writing ones, and if not writing it out, mentally process an answer. Like, could I answer this if I had to? Explain the power rule for exponents. Use 3 squared to the 4th power in your explanation. Could I write that out? If I had to explain to somebody else, okay, that's another good sign that you really know a topic, is if you can teach it or at least explain it to someone else, then you have a good understanding of it. So at least read through these and do it. This is a good like mental check. Can I explain all of these things? Could I write this out if I had to? I don't like assigning a lot of them because it takes longer to do, and then it takes me longer to grade. Full disclosure there. Critical thinking exercises. This is really going to push you in different directions. Not the application is more the real world application. This is, can you apply this math concept to a new math situation? It's not necessarily a real world context around it, but a new math context. Okay? There's even group exercises. If we had people to put in groups, we could do those. Oh well. Right? And then preview exercises. Oh, this is a nice one. Right? Because this gives you an idea, oh, what's going to come up next? Right? The radicals. Oh, those are the things. So maybe it would be better actually to start your reading for each section. Again, browse the section there, give it a highlight, start forming an outline in your mind, and maybe roll back to the preview exercises from the previous section, okay, and be like, as I read, I better make sure I find out how to do all of these. Simplify this, simplify, 21, root 2. Okay, what do I do with that? How am I going to simplify that? And so set your brain up to be on the lookout for the answers to these questions, okay? All right. I think I've talked about the text long enough, certainly more than enough for you to fill in and answer the discussion questions. So, are there any questions from you guys for me at this time? No? All right, then we've got 4 minutes left. Use that, wrap up those discussion questions. And no, check Google Classroom. So the classwork for today is to finish those discussion questions, because those go hand in hand with today's discussion. More lecture, I know, but and then you also have as actual homework, there are exercises from P.1. That is your first exercise set from the book. P.1, these guys here, right? I think I've got like some of these. I grabbed one of the application ones. I don't remember which one it was. I think it was the average cost of tuition, right? So you'll be answering like 131 and 132 on tuition. So those are there, okay? Check Google Classroom. All the assignments, everything you need to do is on Google Classroom, okay? That's the best list. Use that as your checklist. Oh, did I do this thing? It'll tell you, hey, this is due when, okay? That's got all the dates, everything on there. If you want the full picture summary, look at the master schedule. It's all right there as well, okay? Thank you for clearing that up. Problem with break is that my throat feels like it can take a break. I haven't had to speak this long for weeks now. Vocal cords are out of practice.